Hi there, everyone. As the Jewish people are finishing up, packing and also baking some food for the road, as they're about to leave Egypt, the Torah describes that the Egyptians were pressuring and urging the Jewish people to leave Egypt. Get lost, get out of here. Ki amru kulanu meitim, we should all be dead if you don't get out of here fast enough. So, by Yisa'am at Pitzekot Terem Yachmatz, the Torah tells us that the people took the dough before it was even leavened. Misharotam, Tzurot, B'simlotam al Shechmam. They took Misharotam. We're going to talk a little more about what is Misharotam. The Sefaria translation that you see if you clicked on the link is their kneading bowls were wrapped up in their simlotam, in their clothing, al Shechmam, upon their shoulders. They carried this out on their shoulders. The Midrash Tanchuma tries to spell out a little bit here what's going on in this verse about the dough leaving on their shoulders. So what is this word Misharotam? What is this Misharotam that they wrapped up in the clothing, in their cloaks, and took with them on their shoulders? So the Midrash suggests Misharotam zeshiyurei matzah u'maror. This is the remainder of the matzah and the maror, presumably that they consumed the night before, with the Korban Pesach, and there were leftovers from the meal. And yes, it's true, they probably were trying to bake things in the morning as well, it sounds like, so maybe they took some of that as well. But they took with them matzah and maror that was left over. The word shiurei and misharotam share a certain similarity linguistically, and perhaps that's also the allusion here and that connection. So the Midrash questions this interpretation. Is it really that the leftover matzah and maror, that's what they took with them? Maybe it's talking about that they took the leftover. If you're going to say the word means leftovers, misharotam, why not say they took the leftover korban pesach from the night before? It definitely, it can't be because the command was lo totiru menu ad boker. That Moshe gave them a command: you're not allowed to leave leftovers of the korban pesach until the morning. So they had to eat it. The shiurei psachim, the leftover of the psachim, was gone by that time. So it clearly means that they took matzah and maror leftovers with them from the meal the night before. What is this we learn from Al Shechmam? The Midrash continues, V'chi lo haya lehem behema. They had to carry it on their shoulders. They didn't have any animals to let the animal carry the load. V'haktiv v'gam erev rav Allah itam v'tzonu v'akaru miknet kaved. The Torah actually describes when they left. They left with a mixed multitude of people. They also left with cattle, with sheep and cattle. Miknet v'kaved. They had a lot of cattle. This was not a small amount they had. They should have been able to load up their animals. Why are they all carrying it out on their shoulders? So the Midrash concludes by saying, this showed the love that the Jewish people had for their religious obligations of matzah and maror that they had the night before, and they wanted to carry those obligations with them going forward. That's why they carry it themselves, and they do not load up any animals with this responsibility to carry the leftover matzah and maror. And on a simple level, this may help explain the idea of them carrying out whatever it is that was left over on their own shoulders, because whatever it is that they really love it, it's beloved to them. Well, if the Midrash is correct that it's the matzah and the maror, great. If it's not the matzah and the maror, and it's, let's say, they left over just unleavened bread that they baked that morning, still, they really appreciated it. When you appreciate things in life, well, you tend to carry them yourselves. You don't load somebody else up with it. You don't load an animal with it. You do it yourself. And the two takeaways for me from this Midrash, the messages that really stand out, number one that really jumps off the page, is that if we love our religious obligations, don't just view them as a burden, then we will be happy to burden them, have them be a burden on our shoulders, to be carrying them on our shoulders, because we love our mitzvot. If we take the opportunity to unload it on others, in this case it would have been animals, you carry my religious burden, and when I want and it's convenient, I'll pick it up. Well, that might really tell us a lot about what we think about those religious obligations. We should feel pride that we carry religious obligations with us, mitzvot, with us all day long. And we shouldn't set them aside. We should be proud that they're on our shoulders, like our ancestors carried their matzah out on their shoulders, their marror out on their shoulders. And now the other message, which I think is definitely not just jumping off the page immediately, but I think is in some ways equally important, perhaps even more important, is look what the Jews took out with them. Nobody in Marror, whatever your position is, what you eat at Marror at your Seder, Marror is never the most delicious food. If you come from a certain descent of European Jewry, you may have eaten horseradish, even if you don't, and that might just make your mouth, it'll set your mouth on fire. And even if you hold of the other approach, which is the one that's correct in reading the Mishnah, and that is one of lettuce, it's not like it's the most joyous, delicious taste. It's fine, but it has a little bit of a bitterness to it. It's not terrible. Why would they carry that out with them on their shoulder? Okay, stuff it in a basket, put it. The animals must have been carrying some things, some of their belongings. Why not put that there? Why carry that yourself? And I think the message here is that matzah and maror represent the positive and the negative of life. The bitterness of slavery, the positive feelings of freedom. And the Jewish people didn't just carry the positive feelings of freedom out with them. They carried their full life experience. They carried the maror out with them too. And they carried it on their shoulders because they let both of these things define who they were going to be going forward. They were not just going to only be free, but we're going to view our freedom through the lens of the challenges that we have had, through the bitter experiences that we have had. We're going to be a more informed people. We're going to be a more sensitive people. And this is why, peppered throughout the Torah, is remembering the experience in Egypt. Remember what it's like to be a stranger in a strange land. Remember what it's like to be the outsider. Remember what it's like to be the other. And throughout the Torah, we're always given this responsibility throughout the Torah to care about other people who may feel like they're the other. And this all stems from carrying these two things on our shoulders. The responsibility of freedom, what it comes with, but knowing our story and our past and letting it inform who we are. I'm wishing you all a wonderful and happy Shabbat.